Hello, hello, hello. First of all, I want to apologize for what I'm about to say. My daughter asked me to say this opener. He, she's, theys, and for all those who slay, welcome to Kicking Out of Two. Love you, Kai. Thank you. Um, I'm Michael.
That's amazing.
I'm Michael. Joining me as always is my auditory
Oh
tag team partner,
God,
Tori.
that's
Tori, how
so
are you
good.
doing?
I'm good. That's tell them I said well done.
Okay.
Tell them I
Um,
said that is well done.
and later tonight, we are stepping into the interview ring with a very special guest, someone who's taken the independent wrestling scene by storm with their high flying, anime inspired style and unmatched charisma. But that's for a little later. They will be joining us here shortly. So until then, anything wrestling related that we need to talk about?
I don't know. I mean, Dynamite's go home show. This is the second or third go home show that I've just been kind of about.
Yeah.
Like it just isn't. I don't know what's missing. I don't know what's missing.
Well, I do wonder if one of the things that are missing over the last few days, we've gotten a couple of different reports. There are three major injuries that have happened uh, over at AEW, so I wonder if that's maybe changed
I saw Orange
where
was
they're going.
hurt.
Orange is hurt. Jay White has sustained an injury, which I'm pretty sure
I
he
saw
had
that
a
too.
had a big thing in there. And Mark Davis got hurt too, which he had the thing going on with like him and the Callis family and all
Okay.
that. So
Okay.
maybe that's why we're kind of in a meh.
I don't know. I could have sworn that opening tag match was supposed to be Claudio.
I thought the same thing. I don't know what
Maybe
happened.
I just was thinking about it and it was wrong. I don't know. Um, but it was okay. There were some good spots. There were some other not good spots.
Yeah. All right. It looks like our special guest is already here,
Oh,
so I'm
nice.
gonna go ahead and cut you off there, and we're gonna try to do this in real time here. We'll be right back.
See how this works.
Okay, one sec. I do want to ask, how long were you guys hoping to keep me for?
All right, we had a little hiccup there, folks, but we have our special guest here with us. This person from training under the best in the business to becoming one of the best representations in indie wrestling that there is. We have Kidd Bandit with us.
Really?
Hey.
Hi! Oh my gosh, I got y'all hyped me up so much. Okay, yes, I did get some really incredible training. So we can talk about that later. But yes, thank you so much for having me. This is actually my very first interview back since I've been gone. So very excited to be here. And it's lovely to meet you both. Finally, like been exchanging messages. So
Mm-hmm.
nice to finally see the mouth moving in the profile photo,
There
as
you
it
go.
were.
I personally, I've been a fan of it for you for a while. I was big watching DPW as it was growing up, and so
Wow.
seeing you on there first, and then I just kind of followed your story, and like I just figured I'd shoot my shot and be like, "All right, hey, come talk to us. Let us see, let's talk to you."
And the shot was a quick scope, no scope, like 360. It landed right on the mark because I'm here. Yeah, no, DPW is doing great. Like it's to see them evolve. Actually, a running gag is like people say like they need to book Kidd Bandit. So hey, if y'all are watching, the boys, if y'all are watching, but yeah.
That's right. Everybody, hashtag summon Kidd Bandit, please.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we won't keep you for long. We have some questions just we want to run through with you, and of course, anything you want to vamp about or talk about, feel free to.
I'm talking about everything.
Tori, I think you have the first question, so go right ahead.
Okay. So who were your wrestling idols growing up, and how did they inspire your in-ring persona?
Oh gosh. Well, I grew up. I feel like my generation, mostly ruthless aggression era, a little bit of the remnants of the attitude era for sure. I believe my first exposure to wrestling was around 2001. So
Okay.
yeah, it's right around the time the transition from the attitude to the ruthless aggression era was coming up. I didn't have cable, and I grew up in the Philippines, third world country, so like you had to be rich to watch wrestling, which is like insane. So I only got reruns of SmackDown. You know,
Okay.
like one of the people that stood out to me back then was definitely Rey Mysterio. I always thought like, oh my gosh, that guy's a superhero, you know. And this is coming from someone whose very first exposure to wrestling wasn't TV wrestling. It was the video game, SmackDown 2 Know Your Role. So if I'm pulling in from the video game like exposure, definitely Stone Cold. Just because I thought like, hey, dude, like that guy's badass. But as far as like actually watching wrestling, I gravitated a lot to Rey Mysterio, Edge,
Okay.
someone who we cannot name anymore because he committed a tragedy, but you know I really liked him too. So we're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah.
He was very rabid. Let's go with that.
There you go.
But you know, these are some of the people I gravitated towards. Eddie Guerrero for sure.
Definitely.
Actually, one of the first storylines I ever witnessed in wrestling was the custody of Dominic storyline. So that I mean, I think that was a little bit later, past 2001, but like I have a vivid memory of that going on. How they influence my wrestling. I watch a lot of Rey Mysterio even today. I believe that guy could still go. Like it's insane. He's like pushing what like 50 now, like past 50, and he still moves incredibly well. Definitely take a lot of inspiration from Cody Rhodes. I ran like I got introduced to him like way later down, like I want to say like 2009, 2008 ish. You know, like that's right around the time he debuted. But I always gravitated to Cody even before like the dashing stuff. And I really liked a lot of the way the Edge was, like, you know, like when he was feuding with Cena, right around when he won the title. Like I always thought like trench coats were cool, so like, you know, him coming out with a trench coat like that, that's like I have a very cyberpunk way of going about like my career. Like maybe it's all about style over substance for me, but it's worked out well for me, you know. Like, you know, I'm all about the cool stuff, you know, and maybe it's not as utilitarian as like I'd like, but splash over substance for me for sure, 100%. Which, you know, no apologies. Like that's how I live my life.
That's great.
But, I mean, hey, check out these shoes. Check out these like Gundam shoes, you know.
Oh shit!
Those are amazing.
Hold on, wait. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there they are.
There it is. Yeah, there they are. Yeah, I'm wearing Gundam shoes. These suck to walk in, but
wait, do you have a guitar?
You know I mean?
Do you have a guitar next to you?
Yeah, she plays too.
Guitar.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, remind me to send you some videos later. She's got some stuff on Twitter of her jamming out. It's some good stuff.
I try to live my best life, you know, not just a wrestler, but I tried to.
So the Gundam shoes actually go great into what my question was. So you've openly been an embracer of anime and all of that type of style. What is the biggest series or character, excuse me, that's impacted you?
Not even the protagonist, but Rock Lee from oh gosh, hold on, alarm came up. Rock Lee from Naruto, because that guy is just the epitome of hard work. In fact, like I feel like, hey, like that guy embodied more of like what Naruto was all about, more than Naruto himself, you know. And it resonated a lot because You know, this was the dude that looked like a fool. You know, he had nothing going for him, and somehow like he fucking, oop, there's the first cuss word. He
You're good. It's not a
somehow,
problem here.
oh, well, he showed up, gave everybody hands, showed out, and you know, even today, like he lost that fight against Gara, but people still remember him. You know, like
Yeah.
he made himself a star. That's very reminiscent of a lot of my struggles as a professional wrestler. I feel like, you know, I never win. I'm small. I'm 5'5". I never lie about my height because I always thought like, why would I lie about my height? If I'm 5'5" and I'm beating 6'5" people, doesn't that make it more impressive? Like, you know, like adding pretending I have 2 more inches, like, you know, because like everybody does that, right? Like,
Hmm.
you know, pretending I'm 5 foot, like make much of a difference. So I'll just straight up say I'm 5'5". I'm 140 pounds, and I'm kicking ass. Maybe I won't win a lot, but hey, like I got pretty far having the build that I have. And you know, if you're not familiar with Rock Lee's story, a lot of the struggles that he had to face was like, hey, you'll never be a ninja. You'll never be a ninja. You can't even do ninjutsu. You can't even do genjutsu. All that stuff. And he just straight up said like, well, I can't do that, but I could throw some hands, and that's what he did. And a lot of like what I do a lot of strikes, I do a lot of martial arts, and that really like that mindset resonated with me. You know, I recently just came back from my training arc. A lot of it was just literally me throwing hands and refining my kicks, and like I'm very much entering my Rock Lee era, as it were. You know, even though I'm presenting myself more like Shadow the Hedgehog lately, but yeah.
I like it.
Okay. You won the 2023 QWI award for LGBTQ Wrestler of the Year. What does this recognition mean to you personally and professionally?
Wow. I gotta be real. I did not expect to win that. I missed, I want to say, like 1/4 of 2023. That was around the time I got injured. So winning that, like, you know, like I was in a very dark place when they announced the award. I was going through addiction,
Okay.
alcoholism. You know, just it basically became like a wake up call. Like seeing that, like, you know, because I didn't just win the QWI Wrestler of the Year. I won I won the Flowers Award, and I won the Match of the Year award. And that Match of the Year actually was on the same. Like I didn't get injured in the match, but I did that match right as I got injured. So there was that level of like, oh my gosh, like I won these awards at like my worst state. You know, like I was hurt, I was injured, I was going through it, and yet there I was. You know, like being recognized. And for someone that never really gets recognized for anything, that was so validating. So that's what it meant for me. It basically served as a catalyst for me to like, okay, you know what? Let's hit the gym. Let's stop drinking. Let's get our life back on track. You know, and that's what that winning that award meant to me. You know, so I wish I could just be like not sentimental about it, but no, it hit a lot of feels when I saw it. You know, it validated a lot of like the sacrifices and the struggles for sure.
Very cool.
So obviously you took a hiatus. We talked about this being your first interview back. You just recently got back in the ring. Great match, by the way. I specifically got Trillo just so I could watch it. So it's good to see that. So now that you've returned, though, how do you feel about the reception from the fans? Oh, got someone that just signed up. Thank you, guys.
Nice.
How do you feel about the reception and fans of the fans, excuse me, and peers regarding your announcement to come back?
You know, it's absolutely insane because on the lead up to my comeback, I kept going like I kept making headlines. Like, you know, like very recently, I just made another headline with Gail Simone, like saying, "Oh, you should be an X-Men." I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like, and these are all elements that are like not wrestling like adjacent. Like they are, but they're not. You know.
Right.
So like right before that, I there was an article about me on them.us. Like there was a lot of mainstream covering. Um, and I remember doing the match and like everything I did was crisp, you know, like all the kicks were better, like I had so much good leg control. And then but then something hit me too. I was like I wasn't smiling at all. I wasn't enjoying myself because I was there was that mindset of like, oh yeah, I gotta prove to everybody I'm still good. And yeah, I won that match, but also like I firmly believe that the only reason why I beat Johnny Robbie was because I pulled out like a move that no one's ever seen before. So like, how is she gonna like protect herself from that? You know, like, but now everybody knows the move. So like, I have to like reconnect with like like there was like remember when Sean lost his smile? I
Hmm.
feel like that's where like yeah, I'm back, I'm better than ever, but I'm not smiling. Why am I not smiling? And I think that's because I don't know my motivation yet. I don't know why I'm back.
Okay.
Like and this is coming from like the heart, right? Like we could all try to like prove to everybody that we're good, but that's not why you do wrestling. I didn't do wrestling so I could show everybody I'm good. I did it because I want to have fun and be badass and find and then follow my dream. Follow my dream. And I wasn't doing that match. I was just trying to show everybody like, hey, y'all clown on me for being all goofy, laughy dozy, being a goofy goober. And let me show you guys I'm not like that. And I remember how much she beat my ass because I wasn't having fun. I remember I didn't do any misdirections. I didn't do any of my trademark trickery because that's what I was known for. I was known for being very tricky. And it hit me. It's like, you know what? I got lucky against Johnny. I definitely have to channel my inner goofy goober. Because that's who I am.
Hmm.
That's who I am. And if you're not in touch with who you are in this business, it's easy to get lost. It's easy to lose sight of what you're doing this for, and that's the last thing I want. I don't like that. Like I guess like that's how I felt about it. Like and my peers they even recognize that. It's like you're different. You're meaner, and I'm like, am I? Maybe a little jaded, sure. And I remember like after that match, I'm thinking I don't want to be like that. So right after that, I immediately did an anime convention wrestling show where I
I
dressed
saw
up as
that.
and I wrestled as Jury and I wrestled as Sasuke because I have to be I have to be a goofy guru
Hmm.
and like there is that level of like I don't know like layer of success like layer of satisfaction of like hey I'm gonna get to the top without compromising who I am you know so that's it that's how I feel about it like I need to remember how to smile.
Very good.
So
Well,
how important is it to use your platform to advocate for greater inclusivity and representation within the wrestling industry?
coming in like what does it mean for me?
Like, how important is it to you that to use that platform to just make wrestling more inclusive as a whole?
Oh, I'm gonna get crucified for this answer. It's very important. In fact, I am a firm believer that some shit is bigger than wrestling. Like, and I feel like some people don't like they don't want to do that. They're gonna say like, oh well, people don't go to wrestling shows to like see reflections of the real world in there. Like they want to escape that, and I'm like, sure, I get that, I respect that, but that's not what I'm about, yo. Like there like at least at the time of this interview, there's definitely a lot of like bad things happening for minority groups. And I'm not gonna like veer into politics. I don't believe this is the right place to do that.
We do it, unfortunately, but I understand.
Yeah.
But I will say this: the best of us in this business, in my opinion, resonate way beyond what they do in the ring. Their stories are what resonate. Their journeys are what resonate. Look at Cody, my mentor. People wanted him to finish the story, but without context, what does that mean? Does it mean like he lost the Royal Rumble once and he has to beat like Roman Reigns the second time? No. For people that followed him before that, they understand the context of a guy that like left, bet on himself, realized that maybe they didn't believe in him, so he had to believe in himself. And that's why we all wanted to see him finish the story because that was a culmination of not just his work in AEW, but his work in the indies, his sacrifices that he made, like the um, making sure that like he follows through with the promise he had with his father. Like that was the story, And these are things that resonate with not just like someone that watches wrestling, but like the story of someone wanting to make their deceased father proud because like like they want to finish the story for them, not just for himself. Like that resonates for people who may have lost someone important to them. The element of him like leaving the company because they didn't believe in him and starting his own thing and like betting on himself, like that resonates with people that like felt undervalued and underappreciated, and that's what I embody. Like yeah, like if people know what I am, like I'm a transgender woman, like if people know that, then great, because like I want them to know that. I want them to like see somebody that like they could resonate with and maybe they won't resonate with everything about me, because there's a lot of things about me that I feel like get lost in translation, like be be it the anime stuff, or just like the way even the way I move in wrestling, because like I do so many unorthodox things. But in my opinion, I only need to get you with one element of me, of my journey, of my story, and from there, hopefully the rest of the Kidd Bandit experience resonates with you enough that you become fans of me. But most importantly, I hope that the sacrifices and the triumphs and the journey itself is what like inspires people. Wrestling has a very dark history of fumbling inclusivity and diversity for years, like to the point where I feel like it's still the stigma of wrestling in the past, where it was playing into stereotypes and all these negative reinforcing all these negative stereotypes. Like it's still very much uh attached to wrestling, so like it turns people off from it. And I don't want people to like find out I'm a pro wrestler and they think, oh, isn't that a little racist, like, or isn't that a little like homophobic? Like, well, yeah, it was in the past, but like the only way to change things is if like people like myself and like Effie and like Dark Sheik, like all these like notable people like myself are going out there and killing it. And I kind of hijack Cody's, like, because I love Cody Rhodes, but I hijacked his saying like undesirable to undeniable. But what it meant to me is different. We might be considered undesirable, but like, dude, watch us in the ring. We're unfreaking deniable,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how important it is for me.
Absolutely. So how do you feel about the current state of independent wrestling? Because obviously there's a lot of questions going around with like the WWID program, and is that something that's going to slowly hurt the independent world, or is it going to help the independent world? Where do you think independent wrestling stands right now?
Ooh, okay. I am not the right person for that question. My opinion, though. Okay, here's my opinion. When I was training, I specifically avoided watching a lot of independent wrestling just because there was that element of like, oh, I can't do it. And I just get depressed watching it because I wish I was there, and seeing all these people blow up while in my absence makes like there was like definitely that element of jealousy that like started permeating in my heart. So, I'm doing a lot of catching up lately. Like I'm figuring out who's who and what's what. But the most important thing I feel like that we're getting from here is that, hey, WWE in the past, when they mentioned independent wrestling, they kind of like they brush it off. Like they would say, "Oh, they made a name for themselves in the Indies." Like, dude, that's AJ Styles. Like, he didn't make a name for himself in the Indies. He's a legend in like wrestling who
Mm-hmm.
happens to name for himself outside of the WWE sphere. So like from back then, it always felt like WWE was like the be all end all. And I feel like with the WWE ID evolved, like you see WWE talent like performing in the Indies now. Like these are things that are beneficial because like now they're recognizing that there's a big independent wrestling circuit out there. They're acknowledging these things. Just the other day, Michael Cole like in commentary like shouted out Shane Mercer when what's his face did the moonsault and battery. So
Mm-hmm.
hey, and these are always great because I remember I got shouted out by Mia Yim like very recently, or my I butchered that somehow. But like and hey, I got a lot of followers from that. It's like, hey, so it benefits us in the exposure sense. I think it's still too early to tell, like because I feel like a lot of the discourse is like, oh, they're trying to monopolize the industry. It's like, oh, dude, that's every industry though. Like every industry has like a big major monopolize things.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like that's where I stand with my opinion about it.
Okay. Tori, real quick before you jump in, we do have one from the chat here. Friend of the show, Stampede. Have you thought about competing in Stardom, TJPW, or a Sorryism show?
I will not be answering that question. I will just say, I can't answer that question.
Okay.
But I will say,
Okay.
keep an eye out. Let's go with that. Let's just say that. Okay.
Okay. That works. Tori, go ahead.
Wink, wink. You know what I mean?
Wink, wink, nod.
With so many new styles emerging, do you think the industry is moving in a good direction, or are there aspects you'd like to see change? And I think this kind of touches on what you were already talking about, but there's a lot of changes that are happening. Do you think it's going a good direction, or is there other things that still need to be better?
Uh, Too early to tell, I think. But
Okay.
and that's not my media training, like deflecting, mind you. Like that's exactly how I feel because I feel like I'm in a weird position. I'm very much a rather notable figure in the scene right now, but at the same time, I still find myself like competing in like very very small scale shows, and in these small scale shows, you see some very innovative wrestling, some stuff like from people who are like, hey, so like when I'm like, for example, like Darwin Finch, like like I don't think anybody really knows of them outside of like the queer space or outside of like SoCal, but like that's a talent that's like super innovative, not just in the way they wrestle, but like the way they present themselves out there. So, you know, I feel like I feel like it's less that the styles are changing, more so I feel like people are starting to see these styles come in from these
Okay.
smaller scale places because like because of Twitter, because of Twitter accounts like what was it, like Dark Wrestling Puro Explosion, I butchered that, or Wrestling with Unicorns, like so it's a good time to be an indie wrestling fan because like WWE is starting to recognize it. It's a good time to be an indie wrestling fan because there's a lot of talent coming up. And there's the WWE ID thing. There's the New Japan Academy. There's the Nightmare Factory. There's so many things left and right to the point where it's like it's gonna be easy to get lost in the shuffle as a talent, but that's gonna drive people to like try to stand out even more. And I feel like my entire existence I've always tried to stand out, like not just in wrestling but in life. So I'm the queen of thinking outside the box, so Gundam shoes, you know
There
what I
you
mean,
go.
Gundam
Yeah.
shoes. So yeah, so that's my opinion. I think it's still too early to tell, but at the same time I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
Okay. Real quick, so MJF had recently said something that was a little controversial. Said that if you're not watching your competition, so speaking specifically of WWE people, if they're not watching AEW and they're wanting to be a top talent, they're lying. How much do you consume as far as the product out there?
None. I'm just kidding. I there's like I said, there's too much to consume. uh Here's where I stand with that. Like, I feel like sometimes people watch too much wrestling that they are stuck in that bubble. So and you see it too. Like, I remember when Ricochet and Will Ospreay did the Best of Super Juniors and they did that crazy like standoff Marvel-esque spot. And then guess what happened? Everybody in the indies started becoming like that. So there is that level of like, maybe if you watch too much of like, consume too much wrestling, then you kind of fall into this bubble and you stop realizing like, hey, from the outside looking in, it doesn't look great, and I think in my specific case, you see someone like Gail Simone tweeting about me. Why? Because like I'm not appealing to wrestling fans, just wrestling fans. I'm trying to appeal to everybody. Like, I'm out here like thinking like, oh, I know people are gonna like this because this looks like a comic book move. I'm using wrestling as a platform to like try to open up to like everybody else, be it like the LGBTQ community, anime community, gaming community, all that stuff. So I try not to like be in that bubble by just consuming only wrestling. I try to consume everything. That being said, when you try to consume everything, like from video games to like, hey, right now I'm trying to steal moves from Assassin's Creed Shadows. Why? Because I think ninjas are fucking cool, and you're a ninja in Assassin's Creed Shadows. And guess what? I want to be a ninja when I was a kid. You know, Gundam
Who
shoes.
didn't?
Like,
Who didn't want to be a ninja when they
like,
were a
I'm gonna
kid,
keep bringing
though?
that up because like, yeah, so I it's important if you want to be like Kurt Angle, if you want to be Chad Gable, if you want to be like these wrestlers that are like Gunther, like, yeah, sure, consume as much wrestling as you want, you be like them. If that's your goal, go for it. But that's not my goal. My goal is to be so fucking cool to the point I'm undeniable. Like, like, because there's a lot going against me. Like, as far like, I'm 5'5", I'm 140 pounds, I'm trans, I'm also very vocal on Twitter about like my political opinions. so um so I feel like at this point there's only one path for me to succeed. It's that I become so big in just in general, like mainstream appeal, that I get signed, and that's how I'm approaching it.
That's great. All right, so every good interview should have a button question at the end of it. You got the guys with their Waffle House questions and all this. You being our first
Okay.
one, our inaugural button question. Kidd Bandit gets to be a final boss in a video game. What video game is it, and what's your special move?
Okay. Damn, that's a good question. Shit. All right. I'm gonna go with Pokemon. I'm gonna go
Okay.
with Pokemon.
Okay.
I'm the final boss. I'm the Pokemon champion. I run a fighting type party with Koraidon, fighting type, dragon type. So definitely, I'll have Hitmonlee because that's kind of how I. Oh, actually, Hitmontop. I'll have Hitmontop in my team because I do Capoeira. I'll have let's see, shit. Like I'm gonna not stop talking about. I'll have Urshifu. Single strike for fighting dark. I'll have let's see, Lucario fighting steel. I'll have uh, I'm thinking. Hitmonlee, Hitmonchan, why not? Like I'll have the Hitmon trio, why not? And then one more Pokemon. Let's see, one more fighting type Pokemon. Zamazenta. Fighting
Okay.
Steel. There you go. So I'll be the Pokemon champion, some random region, and I have the fighting type party because that's what I do. I fight, and yeah, that's how I'll be the final boss. Let's go with that.
That is awesome. It's a great answer. Great answer. Great answer. So it's been an absolute
Safe
blast.
answer. Safe answer.
Okay. Before we wrap up, let people know where can they find you on social media. Where can they catch you next? What is your next matchups that you can announce?
Oh my gosh! All right, I am fighting Serial Man tomorrow. Tomorrow at Hood Slam, and then I have DOA Pro Wrestling over in Portland, Oregon, in April 6th. And I got a bunch of crazy stuff coming up for Mania Week. I got Divas in Drag with Melina. I have a triple threat match featuring Tania and Jen Savani. I have a bunch of stuff I can't talk about yet because but hey, wink, wink. Like. And I have, of course, Zack Sabre Jr. coming up. That's a big one.
Looking forward to that.
I'm gonna be like y'all. Like, here's the thing. Everybody studies Zack Sabre Jr. Nobody studies Kidd Bandit. Let's go with that. Like, you know what I mean. So I have the advantage of the unknown advantage. All right, but yeah. So and my socials at Kidd Bandit Pro and everything except for TikTok. That one's just at Kidd Bandit because I deleted my TikTok because I hated TikTok. I couldn't get into it. I'm too old for that shit. But I need it. So there you go. All right.
Awesome. Well, y'all make sure to follow Kidd Bandit, support their journey. You don't want to miss what's coming up. I guarantee you, absolute blast to watch in the ring. Thank you so much for being here. I want you to think of this as a place you can always come to if you ever want to just come and talk. Just hit me up. You know where to find me.
Okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
And I'll bring my Evangelion shoes next time.
There you go.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
That was a blast.
That was fucking cool.
Oh, I have two.
Jess is here.
I have two chats up here now.
Big Mike's here. Everybody showed up. We appreciate y'all.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for being here. Stampede, I wanted to get your question in there just before we wrapped up there, so I hope that answer, wink, wink, nod, nod, helped you out.
I'm curious now. Like, I'm really curious to see where they show up.
Yeah,
that was definitely an interesting answer.
it certainly was.
Thanks, Big Mike.
Thanks, Big Mike. Yeah, that's wonderful things coming from you there. So do we want to keep talking about wrestling?
We can. We got everybody in the chat. Y'all throw some stuff out y'all want to talk about too.
Yeah, absolutely. We were actually just talking about the lackluster AEW Dynamite Go Home that we saw there. I'm thinking maybe because we had 3 big names that got injured, maybe that's why it got kind of lackluster there towards the end of it. That's good to read between those lines. Absolutely. Any wink, wink, nudge, nudge means that we're probably going to see them in one of those places.
That's crazy.
So
too.
that'll be fun to see. But I also like, just since we're talking about the Dynamite, the whole thing with Stampede or not. Now it's got me thinking about other places now. With Hangman and Swerve there in the hallway.
That was so well done.
Yeah, it was such a good way to end that, because like, and we were talking before we got on here. The idea of most things is like, once both people become the same side, or they're both faces or they're both heels, at that point we kind of forget that they did horrible things to each other. We never reference it again
to each other.
And so I have seen some people on Twitter that are like, well, that was kind of, that was out of nowhere and yada yada. But it gives us a reason to say, okay, we're going to separate that. They're both kind of faces right now. That's how we're not going to reference that right now. Because he's just going to be like, you know what? I know I deserve all the shit you did to me.
I thought that was such a well done moment. Just because Hangman was like, hold up, what did you just say?
Yeah.
And with everything going on right now, especially with him going after the title, if we get another match between these two, it's going to be a completely different match.
Yeah. It'll be one built on respect rather than building it off of the hatred that they had.
100% Stampede. Those two little words said so much and opened up so much. Absolutely.
And it's just something that's simple. And I want to paraphrase what you said in this. And by all means, with all our friends in the chat here, I want to get their opinion on how you said this. It was done masterfully.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, just, and it's something so simple that they get wrong so much in other places, but here they say two simple words and get it exactly the way it needed to be done.
And that's one of my frustrating points with AEW is you do something like this and it's so perfect. Like him saying that and Hangman's reaction and where this is going, which is another match between them. This was so good. But so much other stuff is so bad.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how you hit this one on the head, like bullseye, and then this other thing, you completely missed the fucking dartboard. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, they're definitely not playing like Ted Lasso.
No.
You play a bunch of darts, Ted.
Such a good show. I cannot wait for season 4.
It's going to be great.
I'm so excited.
But yeah, overall it seemed like a decent enough show, though. I did like the tag match. The big meaty men match was
so good.
Anything that Brody King's in, first of all, is just automatically.
I'm such a huge Brody King
massive
fan.
Thing, but him and Murder Hawk going at it and just beating the tar out of each other.
Well, and Buddy's hurt. Julia's doing her own thing, so Brody's just kind of there. I would like to see him mixed in with the Hobbs Don Callis story.
Yeah.
Hobbs go to him and say, look, I need somebody to have my back. We've had our issues, but we had mutual respect.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think that would be a perfect way and something for him to do.
Well, and those two big old boys being on a team together.
Right.
Whew, that'd be tough.
So, that opening tag match was okay. Marina botched that spot on the apron, and that fall on the table was rough.
It was. Willow actually tweeted today saying that she was alive, and I think that was just in her references saying that she's okay. But yeah, it was scary. And then she took that stiff looking DDT at the end of the match, and it's like, oh, should we have really done that? Right after that spot.
I think Willow's good enough, and if I absolutely agree, Jess and Stampede, same thing. Kevin Knight is incredible, and the fact that Switchblade is hurt, and so we're giving Kevin Knight his spot, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
I'm 100% here for it. I don't think he's winning, but I'm here for it because it's going to make him look amazing.
Yeah,
him and Ospreay.
Yeah, him and Ospreay match are going to be amazing. It's going to be a great fight. I'm going to say the same disclaimer I say anytime we bring in someone talented, though. I really hope it doesn't end up with like, ooh, shiny toy, and we get him high up on the card for a couple of weeks, and then we just kind of forget about him because we're doing that way too often.
That's happened to.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, Kevin Knight's great.
So I have something kind of side story to some of this.
Sure.
Have you been keeping up with Carl Anderson's Twitter?
So I've been catching some things.
Okay, so he put in a new bio. And at the end of it, there was something that basically the way he worded it and the capitalized letters were BTE.
Oof.
And I'm like, are we going to get the machine gun in AEW with the Bucks? Are we going to put the Elite back together? Because if you want to fight this Moxley storyline properly, it should be Omega, the Bucks, and Hangman.
Yeah, it should be.
Or Omega, the Bucks, and somebody.
Yeah,
I agree. Hobbs would do great going over and doing the G1.
Oh, he would. Yeah.
That kind of reps would be really good for him.
Well, and that's what I was about to say. Like, if nothing else, just for the reps of him doing it, that would be amazing for him. Because I think he's a talented young man. But
did you see Big Mike's question?
Oh, so you don't think Knights?
Right now, I think Hangman wins the men's and Swerve has the title. When we get to All In, we get Swerve Hangman. But again, it's going to be a very different match than we got the first time. And on the women's side, I think Mercedes and Athena both lose their first round match. I think we set that up for All In. Not All In. Yeah, All In Texas. Yeah. I don't remember who the rest of the brackets were. Hang on.
While you're looking that up, I'll say I agree with that on the men's side. I think that's the smartest way to handle that. The women, yeah, those two have a story, and so them being in the tournament and going on in the tournament doesn't really help that story at all. So I could definitely see them getting pushed out quickly. Okay. Yeah, with those two being free agents, Stampede, like they could easily show up in AEW, and that would be a fun spot for them. Maybe help build that tag team division back up. That apparently now we're separating one of the stalwart tag teams there. I'm not sure why we're doing that either. I'm kind of hoping that's just a story to cause tension and that they don't actually split up, but who knows? AJ showing up in AEW could be interesting. I don't think he's leaving though. He said in a lot of interviews like he's done where he is, and when his contract was done in WWE, he was done. He wants to get out before he starts tearing up his body too much to not be a dad to his kids. But then again, you back that Brinks truck up, who knows?
100%.
What you'll do.
I don't think they're going to split FTR up. I think they're going to make a massive heel turn and turn on Copeland.
I'd be okay with that.
I would too.
Yeah. To me, FTR is always better heels.
AJ's not coming. I hope he does, because I'd like to see him get a good run over there. Because I don't think he's going to, I hate to say it, he's jobbing that fucktard over at WrestleMania. Oh, God, he's doing that. Not. He's taking that L. Oh, he's taking that L. Logan Paul has lost almost every match he's had on a pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Almost every one. There's not a chance he's doing this match and not getting that dub. I hate it.
I'm hoping not. I mean, we've talked before, just you and me, about it, and the idea, like the last couple times I've seen him on TV, he doesn't seem like he's as into it as he was, and so hopefully with that thought in mind, like the bloom being off the rose, as they say, hopefully he's just kind of riding out the contract. Yeah, if he beats AJ, then I'm kind of I already hate that dude, but it doesn't help.
The women's Owen Hart tournament, we have Jamie Hayter against Billy Starks, Thunder Rosa against Stat, which that's going to be a great match, Athena, Harley Cameron, and Mercedes Julia. I hate that because Julia's going to lose and so is Harley, and I hope they don't, because if you give me Harley and Julia, that match is going to be so entertaining.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think Mercedes and Athena cost each other those matches. I hope. If Julia makes it out of the first round, I think she wins it.
It'd be a good push for her. Absolutely.
The only other person that I think legitimately has a shot at winning this is Jamie Hayter.
I've thought about that too. So the Jamie Hayter of it all, like they gave her a big push. She got injured. She came back. They pushed her for like a night, and then, if I remember right, the injury she wasn't re-injured, but it tweaked or something, and so she had to take a step back. And so she just hasn't had the traction since she got back.
No,
so that would be
hasn't.
a good way, an easy way to put her back on top.
Yeah.
To get her back into that conversation. We have to get some fresh blood in there. And I know Jamie Hayter's been there, so it's not exactly fresh blood, but like we've had the same names in the women and the TBS champs for a little too long. We definitely need to get some more blood in there.
I agree, Stampede. After the Tony, that's true. Yes, Mariah and Harley are amazing. They're like best friends. Jess, I don't know if Jess was in the heels calls with us when both of them have done calls, and they've talked about each other so fondly. Like they're such good friends. The men's tournament, we got Ospreay, Kevin Knight, which is going to be a fucking banger. Brody King, Takeshita, they're going to beat the shit out of each other.
Mm-hmm.
Hangman against a wild card. If Swerve loses, that may be Swerve.
Chatter right now is Josh Alexander. That's when he's going to make his debut.
Then Hangman's win. I don't think Hangman wins that match if it's Alexander.
Yeah.
I don't think he wins. And then Kyle Fletcher, Mark Briscoe. I really hope they don't give us a Kyle Fletcher, Will Ospreay final. God, I hope not. Now, the match would be amazing. I just hope they don't do it.
Yeah, I don't think that's
Kyle.
I don't think that's the right.
I don't either.
Right place to do it.
Honestly, Takeshita and Hangman is actually no. Takeshita Kyle Fletcher is the final. If depending on who the wild card is. Takeshita Fletcher, they'd beat the absolute piss out of each other.
They would. Blake Christian's a good pick too. It
is. Fletcher Takeshita would be a money making. People are going to pay for that match.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure Harley's interview. I need to go watch that.
I've seen snippets of it. I haven't watched it.
I absolutely love Harley Cameron.
And just for the people in the chat, the puppet's back, and specifically.
Oh my god, I was so happy.
Specifically,
I was so excited about that.
I think it was Taz that said it. I want to buy a puppet. So him saying that on commentary, maybe we'll finally get the puppet.
Stampede, that's fair. He may not. He may show up. I don't know. But there's a lot. I mean, honestly, if I'm looking at that bracket for the men's, the only two people I don't think are win. Three people. I don't think Brody King is winning it. I would love for him to, but I don't think he is. I don't think Kevin Knight is winning it. I don't think they're doing that. They're not putting him over Ospreay. And I don't think Mark Briscoe is winning that. I like Mark Briscoe, but you're not beating Kyle Fletcher. Not right now.
Yeah.
Fletcher is too big right now. So I think that the whole tournament's going to be entertaining as hell.
Mm.
But do I think that some of those... Look, if I get a chance to buy that puppet, I'm fucking buying it. That'd be so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be so fucking annoying on this show with that puppet. Are you kidding me?
I would learn ventriloquism just for that.
I can't even do it, but I'll do it. You know what? I'll get the puppet and have Grace stand here and have her talk. That's what I'll do.
Oh, that'd be great.
The fact that this puppet has this is like we've talked about with their marketing.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that this puppet is not a thing is a problem. 100% agree, Stampede. 100% agree. They're not going to bring him in to have him job to Hangman. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So if Alexander's coming, I don't think it's there.
Yeah, that, like I said, that's just the chatter I've seen of people hazarding a guess of who's going to show up on it. It's got to be a surprise. It's got to be someone we're not thinking about. I do like the Blake Christian idea just because he's been throwing into things lately and
he's
showing a lot.
He's talented as fuck too.
I made the joke and I feel bad about it now, but like when he showed up against Omega, Like it was like a 3-minute promo, and it was like 99.9% Omega, and it showed like one video still of Blake Christian, and then just kind of went back to Omega. I'm like, wow, y'all don't care about him at all.
He's talented as fuck.
Oh yeah,
The
absolutely.
kid's crazy talented. Do I think he's winning? Absolutely not.
He's not there yet. He's got the talent, but
Ooh, that'd be
that
solid,
would be
Big
cool.
Mike.
Like he got pulled out of it, and then he's better, so he gets pulled back into it. That would be cool.
It could be Christian. Is Christian hurt, or is he just not there right now?
I think he's just not there. And I'm
I'm
sorry.
real curious what they do with the wild card.
I was thinking you said kill switch, and I was thinking Switchblade. That's my bad. I was just thinking that. No, kill switch. That would be cool if he's coming back on that.
I want him to come back as Luchasaurus too, and have somebody come out and him be like, just bust them up.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if the wild card is Nick Wayne either. With what they're doing with him, I wouldn't be surprised at all. And then we get Mother Wayne, and that's a win for everybody. Possibly.
Yeah. Very well could be.
See, this is why having a chat with people commenting works, because we're fucking squirrels anyway.
That's right. I hate structure. Give me an ooh shiny any day. But
Right?
yeah, so I mean it's gonna be good. Like that's the thing is like for those of you that watch the show or know us, like we do say some things against AEW, and it's mostly just management stuff, just because it's obvious that they need a better creative structure there than what they have.
100%.
But the thing that they never miss on is pay-per-views. Pay-per-views are always dead on.
I don't understand it. Your show before the pay-per-view is relatively hot garbage, but then your pay-per-view is stone cold fucking amazing.
Well,
how do you do that?
It's because their phrase that a lot of people make fun of this is where the best wrestle, we see it on the pay-per-view. And absolutely, if we could just get creative around that match that makes sense, make it make sense, folks, then it'd be perfect. But it's just we can't get there yet. But they're doing good. They're a solid number 2, and they're good there. I'm just gonna leave
Everybody
it there.
prefers a solid number 2.
Well, yeah, that's absolutely. Which brings us to
oh God, it was too easy.
Oh, so I was gonna say it's our sponsor, Metamucil, but I'm gonna leave that alone. You good?
Yep, Mama didn't raise no quitter. I swallowed.
There you go. All right. Anyway, anything you guys want to bring up in the chat?
Yeah.
Any last minute stuff you want to talk about, Tori, before we go?
No, doing that interview, having never done anything like that, was really cool. I really enjoyed that.
It was a lot of fun. I do hope we can get some more of them. I'm definitely gonna be pushing to do some. Hey,
I do want to say, I appreciate everybody showing up in the chat for us.
Absolutely.
I appreciate y'all.
Absolutely.
Like, we normally don't have a lot of people here, and it's probably because shows overlap. Really appreciate you guys showing up for us.
Yeah. And I do want to give a special shout out to Jess, just because like you were a point of conversation today with me and a friend of mine, because I was really nervous about this, and she brought up the fact of when we had you on the show for the first time, I was also really nervous. So Jess being on the show brought us to another echelon of what we were doing, because we were getting numbers for a podcast that was starting. We definitely got a lot more impact and a lot more stuff because of Jess being on the show. Greatly appreciate you being there and being in our chat. Thank you so much for that. Big Mike, you're always a supporter of ours. Stampede, I see you all the time on Big Mike's podcast. So it's awesome to see you in ours. So thank you all. You're the ones who make it fun. Without you guys in here, it's just us spouting off facts, and that's never a bunch of fun.
Dave had us on stuff. Big Mike had us. John's JA and Jess have had us. We just appreciate you guys. We really do appreciate you a lot.
Yep. All right. Woot woot. Absolutely. So with that, okay, we'll go ahead and throw it out here. If you've liked this episode, which we absolutely did, we're also going to throw some TikToks of it out here soon. Thank you. Shouting that out. Simon Miller we have a video of Simon Miller saying that we are the podcast to listen to because we are trying to kill tribalism in wrestling. I've got another copy of it too, a different version of it that I'm gonna throw up later as well. Awesome to have that there. Very blessed to have that. So thank you so much for shouting that out. We are definitely going to be throwing out some TikToks and some YouTube shorts from this interview today. I'm probably going to ride that train till the end of the month because
I mean, you know.
I'm going to throw as much as I can out there about that. But
thanks, Big Mike. We appreciate
thank you. Absolutely. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that fun stuff so you don't miss any episodes of us. Remember that wrestling is for everyone. The tribalism, the gatekeeping, the toxicity, that's what holds the industry back. Support your favorites, respect the differences, and let's keep wrestling fun for everyone. But don't change that dial. Because coming up next, you get to see the Santa Barbara Police Department hit a wall on a high-profile kidnapping case, so they reluctantly hire the town's newest psychic detective on the series premiere of Psych.
I can't stand you.
But until next time, I'm Michael. He's Tori. And we will catch you on the next one. Bye.
Here's the cover. Can he do it? Kick out at 2.